From Flowery Branch to Mercedes-Benz, bring it in.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to If You're Scared, Get in My Pocket, hosted by me, Daniel, aka Dirty Dan 704. Just want to talk to y'all a little about the Falcons' upcoming 2026 schedule and give y'all my predictions. I feel like it's going to be a 11-6 season or a 10-7 season. Could go either way. So, like, comment, share, subscribe. Falcon fans, definitely welcome. Falcon haters, y'all welcome too as well. And just NFL fans in general, let's go ahead and have fun, talk about it a little bit, and go ahead and comment. You comment, I'll definitely comment back. Whereas we're just gonna have fun with it. Just let's talk about it. Anyway, let's get right to it. Week 1, Pittsburgh Steelers. We're playing at Pittsburgh. Against a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, new coach Mike McCarthy. It's not Mike Tomlin anymore. They traded for the wide receiver Michael Pittman from the Colts. That could be an interesting fit, but I just don't feel like Aaron Rodgers is that same Aaron Rodgers anymore. He's not that Green Bay. He's definitely not the Green Bay Aaron Rodgers. So I feel like that's gonna be a win for us. The Pittsburgh defense is getting older, so I mean it's probably gonna be a slugfest, but I feel like at the end of the day we're gonna come out and win that game. So just gonna leave it at that. We're gonna win. Just saying. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers, week 2. I know most times the Falcons and Panthers split 1-1. Last year, Panthers won both games. First game they won by 30. The next game was a shootout. And of course, Bryce Young had his 400 and something yard performance, his season high, whatever it was, career high, whatever, I don't know. But it is what it is. With that being said, the Panthers only averaged 18.8 points, 18.3 points per game last year, and the defense gave up 22.4 points a game last year. They sacked the quarterback 30 times, but Bryce Young was sacked 35 times. So Bryce Young can have pressure on him if that offensive line doesn't perform. And by the way, they had a great running game, but Rico Dalvin is not there anymore. It's just Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks, who is come off a second ACL injury or whatever, and I don't know who else they have in the backfield, so that could be very interesting. And I don't know what they're going to do with Xavier Leggett. I don't know how he's going to stand up, but I feel like the rookie that they drafted, Chris Brazil, whatever his name is, he's going to end up overtaking, or he's going to get some kind of playing time, so that could be it. Also, they drafted a rookie, Lee Hunter, who's a big D tackle that can stop the run. But from what the general manager said, I've heard on the radio where, Panther radio station, where they were saying something about that a lot of those players aren't starters, they're depth pieces. I feel like if you're drafting these players, some of them should be starters. Even the offensive lineman they drafted in the first round, they didn't project him to be a starter. So, hey, it is what it is with them. And also, they signed Jalen Phillips to a 4-year, $120 million deal. By the way, Jalen Phillips has not played a full season since 2022. He's never had double-digit sacks, but they feel like that's going to be a big guy who's going to produce sacks for them. Now, Devin Lloyd, I ain't going to say he was a one-hit wonder, but he had a great year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like he's going to be a better signing than the Phillips signing. So, but we'll see how it goes. If Phillips can stay healthy, if he can produce, maybe the Panthers defense will be a little better, but I still feel like that's going to be a win for us, week 2. Week 3, we play the Green Bay Packers. I feel like that's going to be a loss for us. Not sure if Michael Parsons is going to be back by then. They did lose a receiver, but I just still feel like Green Bay is going to be a pass-happy team. Jordan Love is a good quarterback, and he can scramble, and we have problems with scrambling quarterbacks. So I don't know. I just feel like in Green Bay, that's going to be a loss for us for some reason. Week 4, we play the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. That will be a win. Yes, Tyler Sugg came on strong last year. Yes, they have Chris Olave, but he has some concussion. Well, let me get it out. Some concussion issues. And they just drafted the rookie Jordan Tyson, who has some injuries issues as well. So you got a guy who's injury prone, and you got not necessarily injury prone, but has concussion history, and now you draft a guy who's injury prone. But I will say, if both of them are healthy, that could be a good 1-2 punch. So it is what it is. Also, they signed Travis Etienne from the Jacksonville Jaguars, as he likes to be called, Travis A-Chain. That's how they say his name is supposed to be pronounced, but I still say Travis Etienne. And they still have Alvin Kamara, which I don't know if they're going to trade him, release him, or what's going to happen, but I just don't feel like Kamara will be there after, well, once the season starts. So that's just kind of the issues that I feel like with that. But I still feel like that's going to be a win for the Falcons. Next game, week 5, will be the Baltimore Ravens, which I ain't going to lie, that's a loss for us because Baltimore has a tremendous run game with that monster Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson's run all over the place. So I feel like the Falcons are going to struggle with that because the Falcons were 24th against the run last year. So that was a weak spot. Hopefully we can shore it up before then. But I just feel like that's going to be tough for us because what's going to happen is we're going to have to stack the box to try to stop the run. And then you'll know if Lamar's running or if it's going to be Derrick Henry. And then we could get burnt for a couple plays over, like in the secondary, because we was trying to stack the run. But also, I want to remember that Derrick Henry had some fumbling issues last year. So I don't know, we might sneak up and get a win, but I don't see it. I see us losing in that game against the Ravens. Next up, week 6, we have the Chicago Bears. I feel like that's going to be lost as well. Ben Johnson was a tremendous offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, and when he went to the Bears as their new head coach, he has connected with Caleb Williams, and every year Caleb Williams has improved. And that Bears team is, I'll say it right now, they're going to be a dangerous team. I just feel like they are, they averaged 25.7 points per game last year, and I just see them improving. So I feel like that's going to be a loss for us. Week 7, we play the San Francisco 49ers, who always stay injured. They beat us last year, but I feel like we're going to win that game this year. Last year, after halftime, there was no halftime adjustments for us. We couldn't do anything. I don't know what was going on in that game. And it was a play where Michael Penix dropped back to throw and was about to get sacked and had intentional grounding. Was in field goal range and knocked it out of field goal range. So it was just a lot of miscues that happened that game. Also, the 49ers, like I said, they're injury prone, and they're an injured team, like so much. They got Mike Evans, who's injury prone. Fred Warner is coming back off of a season-ending leg injury. George Kittles is coming back off of I think it's Achilles injury. I don't think it was ACL, but I think it was an Achilles injury. But I know he's coming off an injury. So I don't know. They just can't stay healthy. I just don't feel like they're going to be like a dominant team like they have been in the past. I feel like their Super Bowl window is slowly closing, and they're aging a lot. So I just don't feel like that's going to be a game that we're going to suffer or lose. And I mean, I'm not saying we're going to blow them out. It may be a 7-point win, but it's really going to be a win regardless. Next up, week 8, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nobody on that team scares me offensively. Baker is still Baker. He's going to try to will the team to a win. The rookie they had last year, Mecca, the wide receiver, played good at the beginning of the year, and towards the end of the year, he kind of tailed off. He still had a good year, but he still kind of tailed off. They have Chris Godwin, who is getting older. Like I said, no Mike Evans, and their defense is so-so. They had they was averaging, giving up 24.2 points per game, and the only big names they really did on defense, they drafted Ruben Bain, which everybody's talking about his short arm, so I don't know what's going to happen with him. They had, I think it was Levante David, or I can't remember who it was. That might be him. He retired. They signed a kid from the Detroit Lions, so they shored up some things, and I just don't see their defense being real strong. And on offense, they don't have that threat. Even though Mike Evans was injured a lot, he still was that threat that you had to respect him. So it helped their defense, but it helped their offense out a lot. So We're gonna see how Baker's gonna do like this year with limited weapons. Also, for some reason, Kyle Pitts has a great game against the Buccaneers. And yes, usually we split with the Buccaneers all year. We were 2-0 against the Buccaneers. But like I said, last time Pitts played that we played them, Kyle Pitts had 11 catches for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kid went off. Like, just saying. Next up, week 9, we will be going to Madrid to play the Bengals. And the Bengals, I feel like that's a win for us. Joe Burrow is a monster. The offense is lights out. But their defense gave up 28.9 points per game last year. So I don't have any fear in their defense. Yes, they traded for Dexter Lawrence, but he had a down year last year. He only had 1 sack last year. So I don't know if that all they gave up for him was worth it to get him. I mean, he could be a monster, but I just don't see that with him right now. And last year, Joe Burrow was sacked 17 times. Don't sound like too much, but mind you, he only played 8 games because of turf toe. So let me rephrase that. I'm correct. He did only play 8 games because of turf toe. So he missed a lot of games last year. They lost Trey Henderson, but they got Dexter Lawrence. So I ain't gonna say it's an even trade, but it is what it is. They got the safety from the Chiefs, Cooks, to be their safety. So, like I said, it's still their defense don't scare me at all. And if Joe Burrow can't be protected, like he's gonna be sacked a lot again this year. Then after we come back from Madrid, week 10 we'll be playing the Kansas City Chiefs in Atlanta. Hopefully, I'll be there at that game. I'm hoping that happens. But with that game, I think that could be a trap game because Patrick Mahomes is coming off of ACL injury, so I don't know how he's going to be this season. By that time, he may be back in swinging things. Rasheed Rice cannot stay out of trouble. As of this video, last I heard, he stays in trouble, like I said, but he's going to be going to jail for 3 days. So he's going to miss, I want to say training camp or something like that, but he went back into June as of this video. So that kid, I don't know, he just can't stay out of trouble. But they got a good run game in Ken Walker, who was a Super Bowl MVP for the Seattle Seahawks last year. They picked him up. That was a good pickup. Rookie-wise, their defense is new, but like I said, rookie-wise, they got Monster Delane, the cornerback from LSU, who's a monster. Peter Woods, who I feel like is a monster from Clemson. He's a D tackle. And R. Mason Thomas, who is the edge rusher, who the signs I saw, he's a speed rusher, so that could give us fits if our offensive line isn't careful. But I feel like that game could be a trap game because, yes, Patrick Mahomes is coming off of an ACL injury, but it's still Patrick Mahomes. He is, if not the best, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I feel like he's the best quarterback in the league. I hate to say that. I would love for him to be our quarterback. I ain't gonna lie. But their defense is young in the secondary, but up front is, well, all around is kind of young. They're kind of a youth movement. Offensively, their receivers, Xavier Worthy is speedster. Like I said, Rasheed Rice can't stay out of trouble. And then after that, it's like you don't know what they really have. They have a rookie, and they have Tyquan Thornton, who's a speedster. And they may, by the time the season starts, they may draft they may sign a veteran free agent wide receiver. So you never know. I just feel like our secondary matches up good as of right now with their corners, as long as our secondary, with their wide receivers, as long as our corners can, come around. Like AJ brother, Avion Terrell, I feel like that's a good pickup. And then on offense, Zachariah Branch, that was a good pickup in the 3rd round for us. So I feel like that kid is going to be a good change of pace. And of course, we still have Bijan. So, I mean, it's just our quarterback situations where that scares me this whole season, like who's going to start and how are they going to play. If we can get above average quarterback play, the games that I'm saying that we should win, we should win. But yeah, that game, I feel like that's the only game on here that I feel like is definitely a 50-50 game. They could win or we could win. But then after the Chiefs game, Week 11, we have a bye, thank goodness, so we can't win and we won't lose. But we can get healthy if we're injured. Week 12, we have the Minnesota Vikings. They don't scare me at all either. Kyler Murray, he was having some issues with being on Call of Duty too much and not focusing on the playbook or the game plan or whatever case maybe when he was in Arizona, and he was injured at times. J.J. McCarthy, he was injured his rookie year, and his next year he was just, I don't know, he just didn't do anything. So their quarterback position is like what really hurts them. But other than that, they don't scare me. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions in Week 13. The Lions average 28.3 points a game. They have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's a monster. Jared Goff, who would throw 4 interceptions or 4 touchdowns. So if we can get him uncomfortable and get him off the spot, that'll be great. They have offensive line shuffles. Penny Sewell went to left tackle. He's a monster, but like I said, I don't know how the offensive line is going to be, so that could be the key right there. But I still think that'll be a loss for us. Yeah, I just feel like that's going to be a loss for us. Week 14, we play against the Cleveland Browns. The Browns don't scare me. The Browns averaged 16.4 points per game last year. The only person on that Browns team that scares me is Myles Garrett, who was a sack leader last year. Their quarterback situation is in flux. It's either going to be Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders. The rookie they drafted, KC Concepcion, is dropping passes in camps. I mean, maybe he picked it up by now, but I saw him dropping some passes in some of the rookie camps and stuff like that. And they drafted, if I'm not mistaken, Denzel Boston. They drafted him there, so they got some rookies there. But like I said, it's just overall that Browns organization is a mess. It's not one of the ones that I'm fearful of. And I think that's gonna be a win in Week 14. Week 15, we played the Washington Commanders, and I feel like that is going to be a win because the Commanders, yes, they have Jaden Daniels, yes, they have Terry McLaurin, but their defense wasn't really solid. Now, that rookie that they drafted, the linebacker, Sonny Styles, he is going to be a monster. I do believe that. But last year, they gave up an average of 26.5 points a game. So it's just a struggle for them. And then after Terry McLaurin on offense, what receiver does he have? And I don't know who their running back's going to be. So that's why I feel like that's going to be a win for us. And plus, we played them tough last year, which we should have won the game. We should have won the game, except we didn't make any adjustments. Our coaching was terrible. It was just, that game was one that we let slip away. I definitely believe that. Week 16 versus the Bucs again. This time I feel like the Bucs will win that game because I'm hoping that by this time we're in playoff contention and we're already locked up a seed. So that'll be a game that, like I said, we may lose to the Bucs because we may not have anything to play for, or heck, we could win that game as well. But I feel like that might be a loss right there because I feel like the Bucs by the time will probably be somewhere on track. Week 17, we're playing the New Orleans Saints. And whether we in a playoff position and we don't have anything to play for, I still think that we will beat the New Orleans Saints again. I think we're going to beat the New Orleans Saints twice this year, and that's going to be the number 2. So the New Orleans Saints just, they're young and they're trying to come along. So that's it for that. And finally, Week 18, we play Carolina. That game could be flexed. I'm hoping that, honestly, I feel we're going to lose that game, but I'm hoping that by that time we're resting our starters and we're getting ready for the playoffs. So that's why I feel like that will be a loss. It's not because I feel like that would beat us. I just feel like that by the time we're going to be resting some starters and trying to get ready for the postseason. So I feel like that's going to be a loss for us right there. So I have us going 10-7 or 11-6, depending on a couple circumstances. The Falcons, like I said, they were second in sacks, 24th versus run. They were 13th versus the pass, and they were 6th in the interceptions. So the defense is coming along, and I feel like it could be better. The whole James Pierce situation it is what it is. He's gonna be playing. I don't know when this year, but he will. Other than that, that's my predictions on the season for the Falcons. So, like, comment, share, subscribe. Till next time, if you're scared, get in my pocket. If you real, stay information and say it with me, rise up. Catch y'all later.